Welcome to this lesson on text and speed ramping. This lesson is going to be divided in two parts. So we will start with this text masterclass. I will explain you everything, and then we'll go on to speed ramping. So without wasting any more time, I've imported 8 videos of which we will copy the subtitle style so that you can understand how to practically recreate subtitles of famous YouTubers or Reels creator. I suggest you to customize your own, especially if you're creating a personal brand or something like that. I've made the player panel bigger so that you can clearly see the subtitles. We don't need to work much on the timeline anyway. So let's go ahead and import a text right now. We'll import this text and let's recreate this text, a personal brand. So how do we go about this? There are multiple small things if you want to recreate perfectly that text. I will start by making the text interface bigger so that you can better see all of the functions. So here is the font and spacing tab of the text. As you can see, there is font size, if you want it bold, underlined, and in italic. And then you can choose if you want it all uppercase, lowercase, or only the first letter of each word uppercase. Then you can choose the colors. Keep in mind, a quick thing is that you can highlight small parts of the text and make them of a different color so that you can have a text with multiple colors. If you get this little glitch where the text is still highlighted in aqua, you can just simply re-highlight and this highlight everything and it's going to go away. Regardless, don't worry. Once you export, it's not going to be shown. Then you can choose the alignment on the text box. So as you can see, if I have something like this, I can align it to the left, to the right, to the middle. I can make it horizontal centered, and all of this stuff. But I would never use these three. I would rather go on the transform part of the text where you can choose the position, as you can see, and you can choose the rotation of the text. And if you put it to 90 degrees, you have the same effect you had earlier. You can also keyframe everything. So you can keyframe the scale, go forward in time and make it bigger. And as you can see, this is the effect that it's going to create. The text is going to zoom in because we have put 2 keyframes. I'll go ahead and remove them. And then we have the customization tabs with the opacity. And then there are 5 customization options, such as the border, the background, the glow, the shadow, and the curve. But I'll show them in a second because we're going to recreate a lot of stuff. So let's talk about all the other stuff as well. If I go on animation, I have a lot of animations that I can use. I'll give you my top picks. So my top picks are typewriter, which as you can see types this in this way with the little line. And then there is fade in, which fades simply. There is also another animation which is called type 1, which I use a lot. It's the same as typewriter, but without the small thing right here. And then there is also another one which I use often in AI videos, which is glitch. I kind of like this as well. And then there is sunrise, which makes it appear from the bottom. And sometimes, but rarely, mainly in AMV edits, I use dissolve, which is pretty cool. And the last one I sometimes use that we're going to use in one of the final animations later down the line is mini zoom, which is this kind of animation. Other than that, I don't really use much more. There are plenty of animations that you can use, but I believe these ones are the best. You can also go on loop and you're going to find some animations. The best way to explain to you is with donut. As you can see, it keeps going for the whole animation, it never stops. And you can choose the speed if you want it to be slower or faster. You can do this with a lot of animations, and then you can motion track the text. However, it doesn't work too well for me, and I usually end up using keyframes and doing it manually. And then we have text-to-speech, which basically makes an AI voice say whatever it's written.
Default text or third Jai?
But I usually never use this and just used 11 labs if I have to. And now, before ending this, there are also 3 tabs right here, which are bubble, which allows you to create this kind of effect, which is used in comics, as you can see. And then there is the effects tab, which gives you some special text with gradient or neon glows, as you can see this one. Let me remove this bubble because it's terrible. And as you can see, there is this glow with the outline, and you can find a lot of stuff. Some of these are pretty cool. However, once you start using these, you'll realize that a lot of people use, especially this type of text. And once you go on YouTube and you find this kind of presets, you're never going to be able to unsee that. And it really screams CapCut. In fact, no top YouTubers ever use this kind of presets because if you're a CapCut editor, you're going to realize that this is CapCut. And you usually do not want people to know that it's CapCut if you're trying to edit videos because you want to try and imitate in Adobe style. Because let's be honest, people actually don't like CapCut editors to work for them. They'd rather have Premiere Pro because they think they're better. They have stereotypes. So I don't suggest to use effects. I used to, and now I don't use them anymore. So let's go ahead and recreate this text from Alex Hormozi. So I'll go ahead and use, first things first, a background because that's what he has. He has a black background. Then I will also make it one line because that's what he has. I will reduce the scale, as you can see. Let's go ahead and disable this to check. Okay, let's go in the background settings. Let's do this thing right here, which is going to cut to the end of the word and then re-implement a bit of height and width. And now I think we're getting somewhere. So as you can see right now, we are almost at the text that we have here. However, it doesn't use rounded rectangles. So I'll remove this. We should make it even smaller. So I'll go ahead and reduce the font size. And I think we are better now. I'll write whatever he has typed as a fluke. It's definitely bold. He uses another font. It might be Montserrat. I think it actually is. I'll make it a bit bigger, a bit less. I think this is actually it. He has spaced like this. And I think if we zoom in, we have a really similar text now. So the background is a bit bigger, as you can see. It goes a bit more to the right. So I'll make the width a bit more. I'll move it a bit to the left. Everything like this. And I think we are basically there. Now what we need to do is go ahead and make this yellow. So we could choose a yellow and try and get a yellow that we like and try and search it up. However, if you want to straight up copy this, you can use the pen tool, bam, and you have the yellow you wanted. So now we'll go highlight everything once again so that the glitches appears. And as you can see, we now have the perfect text, which was done by Alex Hormozi. It's literally the same. This one is a bit more pixelated because I have downloaded it in 180p or maybe even 720, I'm not sure, but this is the perfect text. So now let's go over the second type of text that we have. So I'll go drag another text, make it bigger. There we go. So what do we have this time? This time we have white text, all uppercase. We have to write so many things. Uppercase, we have a bit of a black stroke. It's slick, perfect. And then we have a background, which is yellow, color, this. And then we have the rounded rectangle. We have it at 30%. Let's look at it. I think it's like this, actually. So I'll make it actually Montserrat because that's the font that is being used. And I'll make it, it's a bit smaller. And I think we're actually there already. We just need to make it a bit smaller on the height. And I think we are there. Yes, this is basically the same. I think there might be a bit of dark glow. So to do that, I'll go on glow. This, I'll reduce the intensity, make the range small. And it might actually be gray. So I'll go ahead and make this a bit grayer, make the intensity a bit more, make the range a bit more. And I think we're actually there now. Yes, we have this kind of lift and gray glow. Perfect. So now we have created this text as well. Let's go over the next one. Default text, bam. Okay, we have of his dues. So I'll go ahead and type it, of his dues. I'll make it all uppercase. Pen tool, yellow, Montserrat, bold, then black stroke, make it less noticeable. I'll zoom in. And then I think the reason ours is a bit different is because it's not using a stroke actually, it's using a shadow. So I'll go ahead and use a shadow. I'll make it closer. I'll reduce the blurriness. I'll make it more distant actually. And I think this is what he has. All right, I think this is what he has. As you can see, however, he also has a bit of shadow here. And I don't think this is a shadow. I think this is a stroke. So I'll go ahead and add a small stroke, just around 5. And I think we have actually got it. So we have the small stroke here, and we have the big shadow, big shadow, big shadow, big shadow, big shadow, 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 shadow. So I think we have got it once again. So let's go over this one. So this one is actually 2 text. So I'll go ahead and add a default text, make it Montserrat once again, struggling. There we go. And then we have this red color right here. And we have this shadow. Actually, it's not shadow, it's glow. Glow, glow. And then we have this thing right here. However, there is this small glitch which makes the red from the text less clear. So to avoid that, I will go ahead and copy and paste the text. I will make it go above and I'll put everything down. And then on the text above, I will remove the glow so that, as you can see, we have this kind of effect. So we have the glow from the text below and the red from the text above. And as you can see, we create this combo, right? Which is perfect. And then he also has this kind of effect, which is basically just done by changing this to white and maybe reducing a bit the intensity and improving the range of the glow. Also making it a bit more reddish. And there we go. So now we have got this as well. I'll change it to Faithful. Faithful. There we go. It's a different font, actually. I don't really know which one it is. So let's go over this one right now. So we have college. I'll go ahead and add a text. I'll type to college. I will make it black. And then I will add a comma, actually. I will add a background. I will make rounded rectangle. I will make the color the same yellow that he's using right here. I will also change the font because I forgot. Montserrat, bold. It's not actually Montserrat. However, I'll use Montserrat for every background because I'm not sure which one he's using. I'll make this kind of background right here, which cuts at the words. And then I'll make the height smaller. As you can see, we have our college right here once again. The only different thing is the font, but it's fine. You will recreate your fonts anyway. So I'll go ahead and do once again this process. I want to show you this process multiple times so that you can get how do you recreate good text and how all of these different features work. So now we go with board of it. We zoom in, pen, and we take this color. We go with a small stroke. We go at around 15, actually a bit less. I think it's something like this. And then we have this kind of dark glow. So I'll go ahead and create the dark glow and something like this. I'll maybe make the color a bit grayer, apply a bit more of intensity, make it a bit darker. And I think we have it. Now the color is a bit different actually. And that's because the glow kind of ruins the color. So I'll once again copy and paste the text. And I will go right here, disable the glow for the thing above. And now I'll get this kind of effect. Let's go ahead and change the font for both of the text. I'll put this one above and I'll make it a bit bigger. And I'll do the same here. Put this one above and here we have it. Once again, it's a different font. It's a more stretched one. I don't really know which one he's using, so we'll just stick to this one. The only thing that I want you to understand is how to recreate the colors and all of this good stuff. To get what font he's using, you can simply Google it and you'll probably find the answer. So here we have a clip from him talking about Kobe. So I'll add a text and then I will go ahead and choose the color right here. I will go ahead and use Montserrat, even though it's once again this stretched font. I'll type of losing, and then I will go ahead and click on Ctrl C, Ctrl V so that I copy the text. I will go on the one below, add a glow, which is here, here, and then I'll reduce the intensity, increase the range, improve the intensity, improve the range, and this is how it looks like, which is once again basically what he has created, as you can see. And then let's go ahead and recreate this style, which is completely different from a Vozen video. He uses this really small text in the middle of the frame. So the first thing that I'll do is go ahead and resize. I actually know the font. It's called Sincel. I'll make it smaller so that the size is the same. It's 7. And then I'll type, they keep everything inside. So the reason I'm getting this weird font is because I have everything uppercase. So I'll lowercase everything. And as you can see, we have the same font now. I'll go right here, and it's actually a bit smaller. It's not a bit smaller. However, as you can see, the letters are close to each other. And the reason for that is because they have clicked right here. So I'll do the same. Actually, it's not quite that. I'm trying to figure out why everything is different. And I think I have to reduce the scale a bit. So as you can see now, we have inside that matches and they, which is too much to the right. So what I can get from this is that we need to move everything a bit to the left and then improve the scale and move everything to the right. And as you can see, we now have it. We have everything matching. So now that we have this, we are going to use the same color as Vozen for everything inside. Once again, this one. And then actually there is no shadow, no anything. It's just simple like that. So I will put it right here. And as you can see, we basically have the same text. And actually, the only thing I didn't talk about is curve. Curve is pretty self-explanatory. So the way you use curve is just you clicking and it's going to curve the text. You almost never use this. I never find myself using this. I'd rather keep everything straight, but it's up to you. So now you actually know everything about text and you know how to use all of these presets, how to use all of the effects, the animations, font, all this customization, the position, transform, blend, the transform, the stroke, the glows, the shadows, the curve, all of this cool stuff. You know how to recreate from scratch the text of famous YouTubers. I suggest you to download or take screenshots of some videos from Alex Hormozzi because he uses a lot of different captions in his videos. He changes it almost every time. And for that reason, I think it's a good way to practice them. So you just start to imitate, you start to understand what works, what doesn't, you start to imitate text from long form videos if that's what you do mainly. You can take inspiration from people like Iman Ghazi, or for shorts, you can also try and recreate some effects from Bolt Motivation, which is a really good channel that has some really cool subtitles, or whatever you want. Everyone uses subtitles nowadays because they keep the viewer engaged. He has to read to keep up with the pace of the video. And now let's get on to speed ramping. Speed ramping is an extremely important technique that you can use to enhance your edits, especially if you're doing AMVs or edits of footballers, celebrities, cars, all of that good stuff. You can also use speed ramping to make transitions. So let's go ahead and see how this works. So I've gotten a clip from Lionel Messi. As you can see, he's going to dribble a player and score. And that's the clip that we're going to use. So the first thing that I'll do actually is go ahead and cut it when there is the last frame of the ball here. So it's this one. So I'll go here, cut, remove. And as you can see now there is only the goal being scored. So what I will do is now go in the speed controls. This is the standard speed. As you can see, you can modify the length of the overall clip, pretty basic stuff. And you can add some smooth slow motion so that the slow motion is smoother. You're going to see in a second. So as you can see right here, this is what it looks with optical flow, which is the best smooth slow motion you can have. And this is without. As you can see, it looks a bit framey. It doesn't look that smooth. Meanwhile, with optical flow, it really does. The edges are more rounded. As you can see, for example, right here, there is this kind of circle around the end of messy. I'm going to try and zoom in. You can't see too much, but there is a small blurry part, and that's what optical flow does. It's small blurry stuff. So now that we understand how optical flow works, okay, let's go ahead and go on curve. This is where we are going to use our speed ramping techniques. There is the custom feature to create custom, as you can see, speed ramps. And I will go ahead and, for example, show you with a custom one what happens. So in this case, it's going to go fast, then slow, and then fast once again. Let's look at it once again. Fast, slow, and fast again. You can also check it right here. It slows down and goes fast again. And then there is, for example, the montage, which is building up fast and then slow and normal, as you can see, which is pretty cool. I'll replay it once again. So it goes fast and then it shoots and it's slow motion. And you can use, again, optical flow to make it better. And then we have the hero time and the bullet time. These ones are similar. As you can see, you go fast, slow, and fast again. And it's basically the same with bullet. Only difference is that here it starts fast and here it starts at normal speed and builds up. So yeah, this is it. And then there is the jump cut, which basically makes everything move slow and then it's fast and slow again. And then there is flashing, which is used with flash out to create transitions. So if I wanted to create a transition with another clip, let's say this one, even though it's the same one, I do flash out on the first one, flash in the second one, and I would have this kind of transition, which doesn't look good, of course, because this is the exact same clip. But as you can see, this is what happened. So it would go fast and then fast in the second part and then slow. It works really well with car edits and all of that cool stuff. But now let's get on to creating something actually cool on this track right here. So what I want to do is make sure that video starts right here and is going forward and then is facing a guy and we don't know if he's going to pass him or not. He might lose the 1v1 and therefore we're going to slow down the footage right here and then we're going to zoom faster as he dribbles him, and as soon as he scores right here, it's going to slow down again. So it might have sounded a bit complicated. Let's just go ahead and do this so that you can see. First thing that I'll do is go ahead and not choose any preset actually, because I want it to slow down at the start and there's no preset that is slowing down at the start. So I'll just go in custom and I'll actually click on reset. I'll go right here, slow, and I'll search for a point where he still has to dribble on the player panel. As you can see right here, he still has to dribble. I'll go below and let's see how this looks. So we have him slow and then he dribbles and it's fast. However, let's go ahead and do this. So it's completely slow. So it's slow and right here. So right here when he touches the ball, it can become fast once again. So let's go ahead and give it a look. So it's slow and then it's fast. And then I actually want it to be faster until he's about to shoot. So right here he's about to impact the ball. Here he's shooting, and bam, here is shot. And I want to actually make this small part right here in the middle slower. So I'll go ahead and do this. And let's see how this looks like now. So we have slow, slow, and fast. So let's replay this once again. As you can see, it's slow, and fast. I actually want to make this a bit longer. Let's look at it now. Slow, and fast once again. Let's move this a bit lower and let's look at it again. Slow, and fast. That's perfect. So go ahead and click on optical flow now so that we can get better and smoother results. Let's go ahead and look at this once again. As you can see, it's really smooth now. There is that bit blur effect, which I really love. And it's really good. So this clip is now looking really good. However, we can highlight it and make it better with some sound effects. So I'll go ahead and drag my dramatic heartbeat effect. So I'll close this and then I'll cut it around here. And here we have one of our heartbeats. Let's hear it. That's perfect. If I go ahead and add one more here, let's hear how this looks. I don't really like the third one, so let's stick with one heartbeat. And let's now try and add the crowd cheering that I found. So as you can hear, this is the crowd cheering. So what I will do is, first of all, reduce it, then put it at the start, and I want it to go crazy when he scores, so around here. So I'll sync this like so. So I'll actually make this bigger. Reduce the volume, and let's hear how this sounds. I actually like this. Let's go ahead and hear this once again. It's not bad, however, I want to do some audio design, so I'll make it lower here and I'll make it higher here. Let's hear it. Yep, I like this more. Okay, and what I can do then is go ahead and copy and paste the clip, move the speed ramp, and then go ahead and add a bit of messy cheering at the end. So as you can see, we now have these, and actually there is a wrong frame here because it was backwards, so I'll remove it. Yep, and now he's cheering. While he's cheering, I want him to be in slow-mo, so I'll do this. And then I'll go ahead and cut the rest of the audio, reduce this, and also make this a bit lower volume so that it slowly becomes quieter. So let's hear this. And now we have our clip with the speed ramp, and as you can see, we have Messi cheering with his teammates. I can also add a fade. So to do that, I'll go ahead and add a fade, and this is the final result.